What's happening, guys? And welcome back to the channel. And finally, the international break is over and Premier League football returns. And that means a trip to London rivals Brentford for Chelsea on Saturday evening and the 5:30 kickoff. Joining me to discuss the game, looking ahead to all the key points, who we think should be playing, etc., is big Chelsea fan Helgi. So Helgi, thanks for joining me on the channel. Really appreciate you coming on, mate. This is going to be a tough game. You know, Brentford have started the season really well, particularly at home. You know, it's a small stadium. The fans will be right up for it. How do you see this game going? What do you think Chelsea have got to do in order to get a result there? Because you've seen the likes of Liverpool go there and not win, and obviously Arsenal didn't win there either.
Yeah, that's looking in principle. It will be a contested game in terms of the fact that it's a West London derby. We have also seen it against Fulham or Queen's Park Rangers in the previous years that the game has been that the games have been contested because it's the derby feeling that makes you sort of have the competitive nature of the game. And in this case, it's even more specific because Brentford are coming back to top flight after a long time, and it's the first time they are in the Premier League. So, of course, their recent form has shown that they are another surprise team, like Leeds maybe called last season, or Sheffield United 2 seasons ago. They are well coached, but with a manager who has drilled a sophisticated team and then getting results and playing good football, especially against teams where they have been dubbed as underdogs, especially against Arsenal in particular. West Ham, they won at the last minute 2 weeks ago, or even against Liverpool, as you mentioned. They came back from behind more often than not and secured a 3-3 draw. So it will be a good game, and on paper, we can say that it's the most tricky game, if we can call it in this way, out of these games we have in October, maybe November, with against Malmo, Norwich, or whoever we play next. But we must have the quality, both collective and individual, to score at least one or two more than them and get the win. It will be a good game, especially coming after international break. We have to be well prepared, but we have to do our best and show our quality in order to continue our good form.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this fixture's definitely kind of much harder than we're probably would have expected it to be at the start of the season. Given when you see Brentford away on the fixture list, you think, yeah, kind of probably an easy 3 points. But as you say, you know, they've started the season really well, had some good results, and Thomas Frank's got them playing some decent football. There'll be a physical presence up top with Mbemba and Ivan Toney. So we're going to have to be at our defensive best to try and combat the threat of those two. Obviously, probably going to be without Thiago Silva. Unfortunately, the way the South American World Cup qualifiers are scheduled, the last one's on Thursday night, sort of going into the early hours, probably not going to make it back in time for that. So it'll be a bit of a miss in the back line, but hopefully Reece James could be fit again, just waiting to hear on Tuchel's press conference. But that would be a big plus if he could come back in at right wing back. I would expect Ben Chilwell to continue at left wing back, and then I think the back three pretty much picks itself in Christensen, Azpilicueta, and Rudiger. Where I'd like to talk to you about is the middle of the park. Obviously, like myself and a lot of other Chelsea fans, have been really pleased to see the re-emergence of Ruben Loftus-Cheek in recent weeks, really adding something to that midfield. Do you feel that he can maintain his place in the starting lineup from the Southampton game?
Obviously, I think that he has to start because you know, in this kind of times of the year when teams come from the players come from the international breaks, and it's very difficult to predict a lineup because some come earlier, some come later, and some don't go with their respective national teams at all. So Ruben is one of them who has been training during this period that there was no Premier League football. So as you said, carrying on that form against Villa in the League Cup and against Southampton in the league, and those 30 minutes or so he played against Juventus in the Champions League, I think he deserved to start again. So I strongly believe that he will. The question is who will be his partner in that pivot in front of the back three. I expect Golo to be fit because, as we have seen, he is back in full training after after catching COVID, which was bad news, especially considering the nature of games we had to play without him. But in terms of the defense, because you mentioned it a bit earlier, one worry of mine is based on the latest reports I have come across, which is Antonio Rudiger has a back pain he's carrying since so before the Germany game against North Macedonia, and according to some news on Twitter, it was claimed that he is missing from the photos from today's training. So this is a bad news in itself, and I hope that he will be available still. We will get more details in Thomas Tuchel's press conference, but at the moment, I think that we must devise a lineup consisting of Trevor Jaloba, Aspi, and Christensen if Rudiger isn't fit. If Rudiger is fit, then as you said, Aspi, Christensen, and Rudiger can play in the back three with Reece James on the right wing back position, Ruben on the left. And regarding your main question, I believe that Loftus-Cheek and Golo Kante, especially for the fact that they didn't go with the national teams, can be at the pivot of the midfield to have a combination of physical presence, energy, and also an eye for balance and solidity on and off the ball.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'd love to see a Ruben and N'Golo Kante kind of pairing in the middle of the park. I think it would complement them nicely. One with kind of the combative breaking up of play approach in N'Golo Kante, and Loftus-Cheek, who can kind of do it all really. He's got a great physical presence and someone who picks the ball up in the middle of the park and drives forward. He's someone that his first intention is to take the ball and move forwards with it, whereas the others, top players, but their first thought is defensive, really. So I think Ruben adds something really good in there, and I think he thoroughly deserves to keep his place in the side on form. But Helgi, moving on to the top end of the pitch, obviously Romelu Lukaku is fit. I believe he was pictured in training today. Obviously missed the Nations League third place playoff in the week, but it looks like he's going to play. Who do you expect to be either side of him? Because the front three has been a topic of debate for Chelsea all season, still trying to find the right balance there. The likes of Hakim Ziyech and Kai Havertz haven't really been delivering any sort of level of performance. Mason Mount probably should slot back in. I mean, Timo Werner looks really good against Southampton. He's had a great international break with Germany, bagging a few goals. I think it would be wrong if Werner didn't feature from the start up with Lukaku and probably Mason Mount as well. What are your thoughts on the top end of the pitch?
This has been one of the most difficult things to predict, in my opinion, because of, as you said, this kind of lack of stability in terms of finding the right balance with the players behind Lukaku in order to get the best out of our front three. I expect Timo Werner to start. He has played a key role in the game against Southampton, scoring a goal, and could have easily had another. Alex McCarthy make a great save. Lukaku laid it off to him with a fluid which could have been an exceptional assist. Scored twice against North Macedonia for Germany, and they were two really good goals from a technical perspective. And he is gaining the kind of composure and can thrive against a team who prefers to play in a high line like Brentford is. In terms of the other player who will be, in my opinion, alongside Werner behind Lukaku, it could be Mason Mount. He has been a key absence of the team in these games when he wasn't available, like against Man City and Juventus. So he has to be a driving presence, and he's the best player, in my opinion, in terms of connecting the midfield with attack. And although his form hasn't been the sharpest one, in this kind of weeks. I feel that he has to start the game against Brentford for a number of reasons. For his like the pressure he provides off the ball, his energy, drive can combine very well with Werner behind Lukaku, and also due to the fact that if we make a sort of see the matter from a direct perspective, I would say that Hakim Ziyech and Kai Havertz were the other two options in those kind of positions haven't been at their best, especially physically. And you mentioned it earlier that Brentford are a good team physically with two up front like Bemba and Ivan Toney or even Issa, who has come off the bench and provided them with an equalizer against Liverpool and the winner against West Ham. So I believe that judging on the current form in terms of the physical, technical, and technical perspective, Werner and Mason Mount should be behind Lukaku. If Christian Pulisic isn't fit, because this is another thing to discuss, if Pulisic is fit, I'd love to see him starting. Maybe Mount could be on the bench, but I expect these two and Pulisic to be involved gradually due to his continuous problems with injuries and COVID, and he may start on the bench if he is available. So I expect Mount and Werner behind Lukaku to start.
Yeah, I think Werner is a confidence player. He's in a good run of form at the moment. So I think he just needs a run of games, and I think he definitely deserves to start. And I feel we're a much more dangerous side when he plays. Getting in behind, pacey, etc., causes a lot of problems for defenses, particularly defenses that play a high line, as you mentioned, like Brentford do. So I think it would be a mistake not to utilise him from the start. I mean, I'd love to see Callum Hudson-Odoi get another chance at the top end of the pitch as well. I thought he did really well when he started up there against Southampton. But we've got so many options at that top end of the pitch. A player of top quality is going to have to miss out, whether that's Mason Mount, whether it's Havertz, Ziyech, etc. Someone's going to miss out. But it also gives us great options from the bench. And I think this will be a tight game. And so it could be, strength of options from the bench that could really help us out. And I think we've got great options there, but it's certainly going to be a physical encounter. And, we're going to need to be on top form to get a win and kind of hold on to our spot at the top of the table going into the next sort of run of fixtures that are coming up, because it's a lot more favourable for us. The fixtures, obviously no easy wins, but there's the next sort of 5 or 6 games are quite favourable in terms of opposition. So we really need to kind of hit the ground running after the international break and get this win under our belts. But yeah, that's just myself and Helgi's thoughts on the Brentford game. Obviously, hopefully the Blues can win that West London derby. We've got Anthony Taylor as referee. We haven't got the greatest of records on even reffing our games. No wins in the last 5, but let's hope that changes. Helgi, thanks for joining me. And guys, make sure you smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you in the next one.